So let's talk about that latest Windows Central interview with Phil Spencer, in which he spoke about future of Xbox consoles, hardware innovation, and also the whole situation revolving around Xbox Game Pass and first-party Xbox games coming to PlayStation and Nintendo. He basically said that's not really going to happen, at least not anytime soon, so let's get into it. But before we look into it, let's check iniba.com. They offer games for Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo and PC, and they've got a ton of games on sale right now. For example, these games cards and more fine gifts for everyone offer. So let's check it out. As you can see, there's different stuff over here, different gift cards and games also too. So let's check some of, how about Xbox Game Pass? I mean, that's that looks like a good deal, 3 months. Okay, so let's just buy it now, or you can also add more stuff to the cart, like over here. There's some extra cash for Diablo. Okay, so anyway, proceed to checkout, and all you have to do now is just select a payment of your choice, and you are done, guys. So iniba.com, you will find the link to that website in the description of this video below. Okay, so there's been quite a lot of controversy surrounding that Tim Cook's interview, or was that like investors call? I can't remember. So there was a lot of controversy surrounding his comments on Xbox Game Pass subscription and first-party games coming to Xbox competitors like PlayStation and Nintendo. So basically, during that call, Tim Cook, which he's basically a CFO, so financial guy basically, and he said that Microsoft wants to put first-party experiences and the Game Pass basically on these platforms. Now, a context is required, unfortunately. I mean, or fortunately, but the problem is that a lot of websites and people went with basically one story. Xbox is going third party, Xbox games and Game Pass is coming to PlayStation and Nintendo. But as always, nothing is that simple really, right? And so let me focus on this topic first, and then I'll talk about other stuff that Phil Spencer commented during that interview I introduced in the actual at the very beginning of this video, because he did comment on Tim Cook's Cox or Cooks, I don't know how he's called, Cooks, I think, comment. So he did comment on that, and he basically said that no, Xbox Game Pass is not coming to PlayStation or Nintendo, and I will give you context in a minute too, and then I'll talk about his comments on future of Xbox consoles and hardware innovation, that kind of stuff. So basically, I've got that Windows Central interview article in front of me, and it says, like, first line, quotes, "We have no plans to bring Xbox Game Pass to PlayStation or Nintendo. Xbox CEO Phil Spencer on console hardware, the future of Activision Blizzard, and much more." So, by the way, you will find a link to that article, to that interview in the description below, so you can read it. I'm not going to go through all of it. I just want to focus on most important thing, but there's actually quite a ton of other information there, so I would recommend you checking it out. Anyway, like I said, this information and this interview is a courtesy of Windows Central. So let's talk about the Game Pass and Xbox games coming to PlayStation. So let me read this. I will start by saying we have no plans to bring Game Pass to PlayStation or Nintendo. It's not in our plans, but I think you hit on the right point of what it means to own an Xbox. The thing I want to be focused on is how do we continue to innovate for people who have made the commitment to our hardware platform? And how do we continue to make sure that they feel great about their investment in what we've built? I'm obviously going to have my own point of view on our hardware, but I think our hardware teams did a great job with Xbox Series X and S this generation, giving value and performance in the hardware line. So then that he spoke about investment in Game Pass, xCloud gaming, and that kind of stuff. Also, he spoke about Game Pass and growth on PC, Game Pass growth on PC. So I don't really want to focus on that. I mean, obviously they are growing. They are really big in Brazil, apparently, when it comes to Game Pass, especially on PC. Well, kind of makes sense because it's pretty cheap and it gives you tremendous value. Most people own some form of PC anyway, so it makes sense, right? But I'll talk about why I think the hardware is still important and why Microsoft still know that hardware is important too, as in Xbox as a console. But let's focus on that Game Pass and first party games. As you can see, there's no plans to transfer or make these games or Game Pass for PlayStation or Nintendo, right? He kind of said he was focusing on Game Pass per se, right? So I guess some may say, well, yeah, but he spoke about Game Pass only. What about Xbox games? But I think that same applies to first-party games, and I will talk about it in a minute. So there we go. Like Game Pass is not actually coming to PlayStation or Nintendo. I personally think ever. And why? Because Xbox Game Pass on PlayStation or Nintendo would benefit only Microsoft. So it's not necessarily about, we don't want you up because we don't like you, right? It's all about money. And the thing is that having access to all these games, not only first-party games, but also third-party games, multi-platform games on Game Pass, and we all know that a lot of kind of AA games like Lies of P or what came out, like there was number of like AA games. I would say that some of them were even AAA games, but like new IPs. Were released day one on Game Pass. So what does it do to sales of that particular game on your platform, right? Well, it kind of lowers it, right? Many people having Game Pass on PlayStation would mean that these games would sell less on PlayStation, but all benefits would really come to Microsoft because you still would have to subscribe and pay Microsoft to subscribe to Game Pass, right? Even if PlayStation got some sort of cut, Microsoft would have to pay them something. The most of the benefit, Xbox keeps you engaged in their ecosystem per se, right? Partially. So there's no benefit for PlayStation to do that. If PlayStation wanted to do that, if PlayStation wanted you to use the service, the streaming service, they would sell you their own PlayStation Now service rather than Game Pass. Makes sense. Like that's not rocket science, and people still are trying to make it. Well, I don't know what they want to make of it, right? I mean, like it makes sense, right? Especially that when it comes to PlayStation, you get 30% cut of every game, not just one service, right? So that's something different. Like, and also if you really think about it, for example, Game Pass, if you bought Game Pass, if you use Game Pass and then you use it, you are using Xbox ecosystem to play that game per se, right? Yes, you're using PlayStation, you would be using PlayStation to stream, but everything surrounding this game would be connected to Xbox, meaning that if you buy any DLC, if you buy anything in the game, Xbox is getting the cut, not PlayStation. PlayStation is not getting anything because all they get is just some sum of money for allowing Game Pass to be on PlayStation, right? Like they get like 30% cut of the subscription, right? 1 per month. That's it. No matter how many games you play. So that would drag people away from playing games on actual PlayStation, right? So it just don't make sense. It makes sense for Xbox having that on Xbox because it stays within Xbox ecosystem. So whether you stream it, whether you play game native on the console, all the surrounding purchases you're doing around this particular game that you use Game Pass for, it stays within the Xbox ecosystem. They do monetize you, right? They do monetize Game Pass. Game Pass is just entry into Xbox ecosystem. That's why PlayStation will never allow it. It's that simple. And so that's one thing, right? So that's why Xbox Game Pass will never come to PlayStation or Nintendo, right? I mean, yes, we can talk about what if they just made these. What if they made a special version of Game Pass for PlayStation only with exclusives, right? But that would not benefit Xbox. They would never agree to that. Like, it's all about money, people, right? It makes no bloody sense. So that's one thing. So that's why Game Pass, first-party games. Let's talk about native ports of these games, right? Because like Tim kind of alluded that first, like, I mean, I know what he meant, Tim Cook, when he spoke to these investors in the call a couple of days ago. He meant, like, talking about first-party exclusives or experiences, he meant via Game Pass. He meant that using that via Game Pass for sure, right? But that's the thing. Like, he should have added that, right? He should have been more clear on that, because that doesn't mean Xbox ports or ports of Xbox games to PlayStation or Nintendo, right? Because I mean, that wouldn't benefit Xbox ecosystem, right? Still, I mean, all the purchases and everything would be on PlayStation. But anyway, that's extra cost of development, while putting something in Game Pass, that's just one cost because it's just game for Xbox, and then you get an app on different devices and everything is still runs on Xbox. That's one development cost, right? You don't have to make hundreds of ports on different devices, if you know what I mean. It just works, right? As long as the internet is there. So I don't think that, except obviously games like Call of Duty, because Microsoft is obliged to release these games. Games that used to be on PlayStation and Nintendo, I'm sure that, like, when talking about Bethesda games or Activision Blizzard games, the games that have always been on PlayStation, they will probably still continue releasing them service games, because clearly Elder Scrolls, even though Skyrim is on PlayStation, the next Elder Scrolls game is going to be an exclusive. That has been confirmed a couple of times already by Microsoft themselves, Xbox officials. So, games as service, it makes sense. Overwatch, Call of Duty. What other games they've got? Diablo. That's going to be an interesting one. I don't know. Like, obviously, Diablo 4 is out there already, so any DLCs and stuff, Microsoft will obviously deliver these for PlayStation 2. But Diablo 5, I don't know. I think, like, next Diablo is probably going to be 10 years from now, so who knows? Like, who knows? Maybe consoles won't exist anymore, but that's not the point. So I think when it comes to like service-based kind of games, yes, you will see them on different platforms for sure. I would not even be surprised if some of the future new IPs from like ZeniMax Online may be on PlayStation. Some of them, who knows? I would not count that out. But when it comes to like more single-player games like Indiana Jones, which is going to be an exclusive. We know that already. Like Starfield, well, Redfall is kind of an online game too. So, I guess it all depends on it's going to be on a base, on a game by game basis. So we'll see. But I guess it's not like a massive multiplayer game, if you know. It's more like co-op and stuff. So that's a bit different. So yeah, I mean, Xbox will still have their own Xbox ecosystem exclusive, not necessarily like a console exclusive, because these games will be on PC, will be on Game Pass, but Xbox cloud streaming too. So it makes sense. Okay, so enough of that. I mean, it still doesn't change the fact that I think that Microsoft should change their messaging. Really, I made a tweet earlier today saying that they really need to really sit down and really make sure that they all talk the same talk, if you know what I mean. Because it seems like Tim Cook is saying one thing. I know what he means, but what he says is being basically read or a bit, and twisted in a bit kind of way, because he said something vaguely, very vaguely, not explaining that more in detail. And, there's like hundreds of articles saying that Xbox is going third party and Xbox first party games coming to PlayStation, right? As if they were just coming right now, right? So, I'm just saying that like really, like they really need to fix their messaging, right? Not really their strategy. Their strategy is fine. I don't have a problem with that. Just that PR, it's like Xbox it is a PR nightmare, that's for sure. But anyway, so that's that. Now, also in this article, they spoke about Xbox, future of Xbox, and hardware innovation. So this is what he actually said, because he was asked. So here's the quote. I asked Phil Spencer if Microsoft has a plans for the innovation he mentioned, and to describe what said innovations might look like, right? To Xbox hardware per se. So here's what he said. We absolutely do. Just last month, we elevated Sarah Bond to be the president of Xbox. The hardware team is in her organization. The platform and services team are in her organization. We made that organizational move specifically to ensure we had a unified focus for our innovation roadmap across hardware and services. That includes the developer platform for Xbox consoles as well. That's about innovation we are doing within our teams, but we will have more to talk about in terms of what we are doing in the hardware space and in the service space. There's a lot of great work for us to do. We are always listening. Okay, so what's interesting here, before I continue, he also said, this is an interesting one. There's a roadmap of those things coming as well. There's a hardware roadmap, there's a service roadmap, there's maybe there's even a roadmap for improvements to our to Xbox achievements, which I know is something that you and many other care about. So there you go. Like, this is about the achievements. I think Xbox was asked about like having these platinum kind of achievements or something like similar to what PlayStation have, right? So we'll see how that goes. We need to make sure we are exposing roadmap to our customers to keep them excited. We know that our customers want to know that as Xbox continues to grow, we will still have the commitment to them. We want our Xbox core customers that we have that have been with us all along to feel respected. Okay, so this is very important too. So first off, Sarah Bond's situation and her being promoted to president of Xbox, and her having hardware team, platform team, and under her like software, right? team under her, because it's all about like really obviously everything will be, this is the whole hybrid thing they want to build. They want to build up a kind of the cool hybrid of hardware, software, services, right? And that's what it's all about. They want to have a proper leadership for that. They want everything to kind of fit together, right? To complement each other. So you've got hardware, Xbox consoles, platform, as in, OS, all the services, Xbox Live, Xbox Game Pass, etc. And obviously then games, the software itself, so developers and stuff. And at the end of the day, it's good that Sarah will be working on it, because let's hope that hardware engineers will have better, kind of connection, I guess, to the platform team, what they're building, and also developers, first party developers, what they need, or what kind of tools they need, and that kind of stuff. It's all about that too. So yeah, that's kind of cool. But also I want to mention something real quick over here, because the last bit I read, that they want the Xbox users to feel respected. And I think it's all about like, there's been a lot of talk about that, Xbox is not interested in consoles and console sales, and Xbox is losing against PlayStation in terms of sales again, and what does it mean for the company. There's been some articles saying that Xbox don't care about consoles anymore and that kind of stuff. And I used to be of an opinion that, yeah, they are kind of moving away from the consoles, and then they kind of do a little bit. It's not their main focus for sure, because they've got still PC, and PC gaming is growing for them. They've got games on Steam, but also Game Pass on PC, obviously. So that's obviously, they see the biggest growth there. But they still understand that they need to focus, they need to have a dedicated hardware platform, not only for cloud, because remember, all these Xbox games that you play via that app on your TV or Android phone or iOS or whatever, that's still running on Xbox, right? I mean, yes, these are dedicated Xbox hardware, kind of changed a little bit. Platform, right? But still, it's an Xbox, right? I mean, suited for the cloud infrastructure and stuff. But still, when it comes to from developers' perspective, it's like they are just making one version of the game. I spoke about it in this video earlier, right? And but cloud is just one thing, right? They need that hardware to actually power these games that they will be streaming out to people. But on top of that, Xbox as a console is very important, because you get a lot of money from that platform. Because when you sell just an app, yes, you get the subscription, you get extra monetization from the game, so any in-game purchases, potential DLCs and that kind of stuff. But you don't get, but if you are a PC gamer, most PC gamers still will buy games. If they will go and buy a game, they will probably buy that game on Epic Store, Steam, really, right? So Xbox, and I'm not talking about Xbox first party. If you buy a first party game on Steam, well, then the Xbox gets the money, but only 70% of it, right? Because 30% goes to Steam. Same, do Xbox sell their games on Epic Store? I don't think so. But, no matter where they would sell it, they always have to pay 30% cut to the actual platform holder, right? So Steam or Epic or whatever platform they would try to sell the games on. While on Xbox, right, or Windows Store, which unfortunately still nobody uses, right? I don't think that many people actually buy any games there. Not many PC gamers for sure. Well, then if you buy a game on Windows Store, on PC or Xbox console, Xbox gets 100% for a game, for a first-party game, so they get all the money. They don't have to share. But most importantly, they get 30% cut from every single purchase that you as a gamer, me as a gamer, makes on Xbox ecosystem. Whether I play Fortnite, whether I play Call of Duty or some other game, if I buy the game, well, Xbox gets a 30% of that purchase. If I buy something in the game, Xbox gets 30% cut from that too, right? So, and if you look at PlayStation, like that, this is why Sony was trying really to block hard Call of Duty, because like just that one game, Call of Duty, generates almost, I don't want to twist the numbers, but it's like close to $1 billion a year on PlayStation, just one game on one platform. So that's a lot of money, right? So that's why they still wanted Call of Duty, and same goes for Fortnite and stuff. So going back to the original thing, right? Xbox having all these games, like hundreds of games each year releasing, right? And people playing and paying, Xbox gets all that money. So as an Xbox console platform holder, well, Microsoft actually earns more money from selling third-party games on their platform, on their own Xbox platform, Xbox Store, than even probably releasing their own first-party games. That's the case with PlayStation. Huge majority of money, of income, comes from multi-platform games, because PlayStation gets 30% cut from each game purchased in a PlayStation Store. Same goes for Xbox. And on top of that, Xbox gets money from Xbox Live. Millions of users actually use it. So that's a lot of money, people. And that's why Xbox as a console is not going anywhere until we'll continue buying these consoles and software on it. And that's why hardcore gamers actually are quite important too, because they buy a lot of money. They buy a lot of games more than casuals, because like you may have you may know somebody that bought an Xbox or PlayStation, and all they play all day long for a whole year is just one or two games, right? So that unless they make some in-game purchases, like that's not a good business for PlayStation or Xbox. They make more money on hardcore guys like us, because even though I use Game Pass, but I also buy a lot of other games in the Xbox Store anyway, so they get quite a lot of, they get 30% of each game I buy anyway. So that's a good business too, right? So I know this video is quite long already, 30 minutes. I look at the clock, but yeah, I really needed to talk about it, because that, like, all that talk about Xbox going away, all that talk about Xbox going third party and not being interested in supporting Xbox as a console. The only big complaint I would have about Xbox is, like, actually two complaints, is bad PR, bad messaging. So I spoke about it. Tim Cook saying one thing, Phil Spencer denying what he said, kind of, really, or alluding on it, about it. I'm not sure if that's a proper word, alluding. No, I shouldn't have used that. Basically, talking about the actual facts rather than what they would like to do. And another thing is obviously the fact that, at the end of the day, they also need to sell consoles. And last year was actually pretty bad for them, but they actually still were doing quite good in terms of console sales. While this year, and I think that the price hikes of the console didn't do them any good, in my opinion, because PlayStation has a stronger brand. They got away with it, but at the same time, PlayStation did run a few big promotions, and there was quite a lot of price cuts throughout like actually especially Europe, but I think they had some in States too. Not only Black Friday deals, but PlayStation was discounted a couple of times in different markets, while Xbox didn't do that. So PlayStation sold really a lot, and they were really pushing as many. They really were trying to push as many of these consoles as possible. While Xbox, kept this game the price the same. I mean, they raised it really $550 now, and only now you can actually get Xbox a little bit cheaper. So actually, Xbox consoles started selling again, believe it or not, now in November. So I wonder what they're going to do with price and PR. They need to market Xbox more. So hopefully now with all that ABK deal done, and they will finally actually focus on delivering games. I mean, they kind of started that already this year, so that's fantastic. But they need more PR, good PR, great marketing. Not only in US but also here in Europe. Europe is very important in my opinion. That's why PlayStation selling so many of these consoles even here. It's a tough market because it's diverse. Like we're talking about different countries really. Yes, it's a part. Most of them are part of EU and stuff, but different languages. So that's kind of different still, more difficult for sure. But Xbox really needs to do something about it, and it's a huge market. And so we'll see how that goes, guys. I hope that next year is going to be much better. We know that a lot of great games is coming next year. We know about Avowed, Hellblade 2, Towerborn. There's that strategy game if you actually into that kind of games too. Not my type of game, but hey, Stalker 2 has been confirmed for first quarter of next year. So anything anywhere between January and March. I would aim for March probably, and I think actually February is quite packed. I can't remember, it's either February or March. One of these months is actually the same month that Final Fantasy is coming out, the Rebirth. I think that's February, so maybe Stalker 2 could launch in March or something soon, who knows, right? But anyway, so guys, listen, I think I will wrap up this video now because it's actually way too long now. So guys, that's the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about it. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I will see you all in the next one. Take care.